Oh yeah, she had to. Yeah, she had to. One thing that when you grow up the way we kind of grew up together, that's how I look at it. When you grow up,
was she young when she had you and
she had me
Trueness
at
Jr.?
28 and my brother at 24. So, but after that, we grew up together, and you got to have a dog in you. You have to have a dog in you, man. And so you have to have it, like my grandfather called it, a stiff upper lip. You better have a stiff upper lip. So, yeah, she has some dog in her. She has some dog in her. She has to. There's no other way to make it out here. I mean, you can't just always be, head down in the sand. You got to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights and these battles, you got to be your own fucking coach. You got to be your own motivator. And she had to do that several times in her life.
Given all of this trauma that you go through, why would you choose to go back and see this tyrant of a father for one last time?
It was the only way for me to move forward. So, like a lot of times, if your back is hurting, it may not be your fucking back. It may be something else in your body that's making your back hurt. For me, I'm like, man, why can't I get past this fucking hurdle? So like I said, I'm always examining myself every day. What is it? What is it? Well, there's only one thing you haven't examined yet, and it's going back to the beast, going back to the demon. So when I went back to him, I realized that was the unsolved mystery. Was I had to look that man in the eye one more time. Like how I studied that Navy SEAL talking shit and lying, I got it from this part right here in the book. I went and I didn't see him anymore as this beast. I started doing research on him, found out that his dad used to beat him really bad. So his dad would put him in front of a furnace, open the furnace up with the flames coming out, and put him right in front of it, have him bare butt naked, and he would whip the shit out of him. And the whole idea of that is if you move, you're going to get burned. So stay right here and take your fucking beating. So what happened with him, those demons from his father went to my father, and he tried to transfer them over to me. I had to understand who my father was, understand where he came from, understand why were you so fucking brutal to us. I got my answers. Took those answers and made myself better from the answers about him. And so that's why it was necessary for me to go back. I was looking for an apology, so then maybe I could just go be a loser and understand that you fucked me up. Why
would the apology make you a loser?
It would make me feel vindicated.
Justified.
Yes. Like, man, you did this to me. I can go be a loser now.
My failings are okay.
This okay.
Yep.
Because you did this. So I was looking for that. And when I went there, I realized, because this voice in here was saying, it's not your dad's fault. And I'm like, nah, man. Because this voice over here always said, it's your dad's fault. This other voice started tuning in, was loud, started getting louder. The more I drove to Buffalo, was saying, you get to face a lot of shit, young man. You got a long journey ahead of you, because you're going to find out that while your dad did a lot of shit to you, you're going to have to fucking make it on your own. And the voice got louder and louder and louder. And by the time I got to that door, and by the time I was leaving that house, instead of me feeling sorry for myself, I started to do a live autopsy. Because a lot of people, when you die, they figure out why you died. They figure out how you died in the autopsy. But we never do a live autopsy to figure out why we're dying while we are alive. And I was dying. I was living every day, but I was really dead. And so I figured it out. And once I figured it out, I was able to reborn. I was able to be reborn.
What we see is this pattern of generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandfather to your father to you,
mm-hmm.
father to son, just being passed on.
Mm-hmm.
Is this part of your mission to be a circuit breaker, to be a dam, to stop this trauma from moving forward into the next generation?
100%. But with people, I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief, because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will fucking just hammer you.
It's like a personal curse.
100%. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to fucking say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays in their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
Have you considered what you would be like as a father?
Yeah, I actually have a daughter right now. Yeah.
No way. I didn't know.
Yeah. I have a daughter right now. But that being said, I'm an open and honest person. When you meet people at a young age, so I had a kid at a young age when I was in the worst possible place in my life. So when you're in a bad place, you're not going to meet a Kish. You're going to meet a person that's very similar to who you are at that time. And then you bring a child into this world. And as you start to move up in this world and get better, and you realize I need to get better, you try to pull that person along with you. A lot of times they don't want to come where you're going. And it creates a bad environment. So that's where that is right now. But my daughter's 21 years old though.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
I think that it would be all of the learnings and stuff that you've been through as a father, as a son, as a grandson. It makes sense to me that would have been something that could have been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about trauma and stuff that you go through in your past, throughout most of school for me, I was pretty isolated, only child, pretty unpopular in school. And the main issue that I had was, it wasn't bullying, it was isolation. I think it was being lonely.
Right.
And that was primarily what was causing me to be sad throughout school. Right. So I do this interview for the BBC about 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And in it, I talk about, I haven't opened up that much about bullying. I need to do it more. And it is, even from watching you go through opening up about your traumas, it is inspiring. So I do this interview for the BBC and I mention a little bit about bullying in school. And
so why don't you mention it?
I haven't got around to it yet. I maybe still feel like it detracts from the man that I want to be, the masculine man, the respected podcaster, that it somehow undermines me as a person, that it makes me weaker, which is obviously what was, part of the bullying's purpose in school, to be able to do precisely that. Right. So I do this interview for the BBC and I mention in 2 paragraphs or something, but millions of people see this article. And I get back one day and in my Instagram message requests is this message.